Well, hello, everybody. My name is Sean Carroll alongside Vincent Massical for a brand new episode of the Pinstripes and Piledrivers podcast, where we're going to be talking about the Elimination Chamber. And there is a lot to talk about after last night's show. But first and foremost, Vinny, how you doing? That was a late night for us with that
Yeah,
chamber.
I had no energy last night. I apologize to anybody who like stopped in and watched that. That was pretty sad to me. It was
Yeah, well,
pretty
hey,
sad. Pretty sad.
it's when you have a long day like that. That you know what? Thank goodness that show started at 7 and not 8, because otherwise I think we would have looked like zombies by the end of the night. But
Yeah,
nonetheless,
yeah.
wild show, wild show. That's honestly, I don't even know if that does enough justice.
Started out wild.
Started out wild,
And
and
ended
we're
even
gonna go
wilder.
right in order. We're gonna talk about the first match of the night, the women's elimination chamber match. Vinny, what did we make it? 5 seconds before we already had a crowd pop? Not even.
Hmm.
As Jade Cargill makes her return with Naomi and Liv Morgan standing in the ring. And who does she go after? She goes after Naomi, attacking her to the point where WWE said, Naomi, you have been eliminated because you cannot compete. As Bianca Belair panicked, trying to get out of the pod and everything, watching her best friend, one of her best friends, getting beaten around. So we see this happen, and then of course the match ends up with Bianca winning anyway. Bianca still celebrating, pointing at the WrestleMania sign as she faces Rhea Ripley at WrestleMania 41. Vinny, first off, before we even talk about the match itself, you and I both expressed on the stream some concerns about this story. We were talking about, is this just going to be a Jade and Naomi story, or is Bianca a part of this too? Because if you watched any of the post show last night, Bianca, kind of playing it as if, how could Naomi do this? I want answers, this, that, and the other thing. If this is just a Jade and Naomi storyline, I think that'd be a little disappointing. Would you agree or disagree?
Yeah, I don't think Naomi is at the point where she can carry it, like even carry a story, even with Jade. And Jade's not. I mean, I've been watching her since her AEW days, and she not the best like promo person in the world.
Right.
And then she, she's a good wrestler and all that, and so is Naomi. But I don't think promotion wise, both of them are put them together. Even if you put them together, they say
Hmm.
1 and 1 equals 2. And that means you're supposed to be better if you had two people that were working good and doing good promos. And even if you had one person that was a good promo person, but they would have to be great in order to like elevate the story.
Yes.
I don't think either one of those is able to do that. So I think they need to. I think what they're going to do is they have to drag Bianca in, and even Bianca's not the greatest. So
No.
um, so that kind of the three of them. I don't know how they're going to do this. It's going to be even with the three of them. It's still not going to be. I still don't think it's going to be that great of a story, even though I like the story. I
Yeah.
like where Triple H is kind of going with it. Kind of still, it still reminds me, even though it didn't culminate in that, it still reminds me of the Shawn Michaels Triple H thing where
Hmm.
Triple H, attacked Shawn Michaels in the parking lot, and
Right.
Shawn Michaels comes on the Titantron, says it was him, and and actually Triple H just goes, "Yeah, you damn right it was me."
Yeah.
And then that led to an unsanctioned match between the both of them.
Yeah. I
Uh,
agree. I just
but those are two of the greatest promo people of all time doing
that's
that.
different. Yeah.
It's a little different.
I just
Um,
I found it a little disappointing that, again, unless Bianca does get dragged into this, I still feel as if Jade versus Bianca was the best way to go, and you give that winner to Alexa Bliss, because I think Bliss versus Rhea would have been a much more interesting storyline when
I
you
think
got
they have
two of the
something
most
else for Bliss.
psychotic.
I still think they still have something else planned for Bliss.
Oh yeah,
I
I think
think
it's
that's
gonna be her and
why.
Liv Morgan if
Yeah,
but I just
I think
I
what's
feel
her
like
name gets involved too.
there was so many other ways that I feel like they could have went with this. If Bianca has no sort of factor in this story, I think that ruins
I
the
mean,
whole
she's
thing.
gonna, because she even said on the after. I watched a little bit of that this morning.
Yeah,
She
but what
did
if
say when
Bianca
she
had
went up
nothing to
there,
do with it?
she said she needs to have a conversation with both of them.
Right. But my thing is my
So that
point is,
conversation obviously is going to be public.
well, yeah, that's true. But my point being is that if Bianca had nothing to do with the attack,
Well, we'll see though.
what
That's the thing, is
that's
that there
I mean,
might be more behind the story than we know.
well, and that's the problem is we gotta wait because we gotta drag everything
And listening
out.
to Triple H last night,
Oh,
he was
he was giving a lot
he
of I told
was
you so's.
he took all the people who tried to spread rumors and leaks and stuff. He said, did you hear what he said when, well, anyway, we'll go over it. That's a little different, but um I think Triple H is showing why he's so great, and a lot of the naysayers, I don't care what they say on X about
Mhm.
him. um he's probably one of the best we've seen as far as
I
like
wouldn't say one of,
telling
I'd say the
stories.
best.
And it's not just him, it's a bunch of people. You see, when
Yes,
Vince was in charge, it was
Vince.
basically Vince. I mean, I know he said he took, Pritchard had some say, and but I did they really have say? Did
No,
the did
because
the
if he didn't
did the
like what they had to
talent as
say,
did the talent, as Triple H said last night, did they have a say, like they do now? I don't think they
no.
did.
No, and
Um,
honestly, I think Vince
so
would only accept other opinions if he liked their opinions. If not, it
right,
was
right.
his way or
Or
no
if
way.
he or if you were if you but if you were back then, though, if you were like, if unless you were Shawn Michaels, Triple H, or any of the other, or the Undertaker, or any of the other veterans in the locker room, he probably would like push you aside.
Probably.
Triple H takes from everybody, and we'll go over what he said about the main event for WrestleMania, and I think what he said about that was correct. How he picks the main event, how he's
Yes.
going to pick the main event. And I don't know if you watched any of the press conference,
I
but
saw some highlights. I
he
didn't
made a
really
lot of
see.
he made a lot of sense. He made a lot
Yes.
of sense last
Well,
night,
like I
and
said, and a lot of I
people don't
told you
listen to
so.
that. Well, and people don't listen to that though. That's the problem.
Yeah.
Is they only see what they want to see, and then
Well,
you know,
because like we've said a million and one times, it's fans just jump to conclusions
right.
before.
And they did it. They did it again, and they got
Yes.
bitten. You know what? So anyway,
Yes.
the
So
but the Jade, going back to the Jade thing, I think it's going to turn out okay, because I think there's going to be more involved in it. I don't want to say exactly what I'm not. I'm done with like trying to predict anything, but I mean,
you can see why if you
let's
watched the
let the
stream yesterday
yeah, let's let the story like play out a
play
little
out.
bit more before
Yeah.
we
It's off to a
start.
questionable start, as
Especially with
I'll
that
say.
with
But
that situation, because we had already speculated that. I had already said, well, maybe it's Naya, and I was like, no, that was
well,
totally
that would
wrong.
have been worse.
But maybe, and maybe it was Liv and Raquel. But then I looked at it, and it's like, well, they were just walking away from the arena. That doesn't
Yeah.
mean that
That
they were
don't mean
walking away
anything.
from
They could
that.
have been coming from
Right.
the bar or something for
So they
all we
showed
know.
that kind of as a misdirection, and it was actually brilliant if you think
Well, and I
about it.
think
It's one
Liv
of those
sold
things
it
where, but
perfectly.
they've done shit like that before, though.
Yes,
See,
they
that's the thing.
have.
You got to go back,
But that's
and
what
they've
Triple
done
H
stuff like
does
that.
is he finds old stories that worked and think, how could I do it in a new school sense with a
And
twist?
that's what he said last night. He said, well, let's go a little bit further. Let's go more outside the box.
Yes.
Let's take something like someone will, like, so
I
he
mean, if
said,
you look
someone will
at
come with an older plot point, and he'll go, well, let's go different. Let's go way
well,
different.
if another good example would be you look at Cody Rhodes' story with Roman Reigns, 2 year story. Cody fails the first time, gets back on the second time. Where have we seen that one before? Rock and Cena.
Rocket
Cena
Cena,
failed
yeah.
the first time. He had to
Yep,
work his way back,
yep.
work through a lot of struggles, especially with Brock Lesnar and everything. And what does Cena do? As much as we didn't want to see that match again, we got it, and Cena won. That's the same thing. So, like I said, with this whole Naomi and Jade thing, not crazy about the start, but obviously we got to be patient. We'll give it its time, and we'll see where it goes. from here. So the next match, there really wasn't a whole lot to talk about, as we both kind of had low expectations for his match. Still kind of entertaining. The Tiffany and Trish
It was an
defeated
entertaining match. It was an entertaining match.
defeated Naomi and Candice LeRae. I didn't really have much to take away from this. I mean, I was a little shocked that Tiffany had got the pinfall, as you and I both said last night or on the stream on Saturday. I just it was a filler match. It was entertaining. I think it did its job. It really wasn't.
Yeah, I think. But here's the thing. I think that they put in some things to that match, and you said it last night, and I kind of caught it. Also, is when Tiff kind of kicked, and I know it may not be something now. When she
what
kicked
I kind of saw
out Trish, this may be another way to kind of bring Trish back later on, because she may go, you see this, and then she'll point to, they'll put it on the Titantron. So if they ever want to turn Tiff heel, maybe they bring her back. Maybe they bring her back. Maybe they want to bring her back.
Well,
I don't know.
The only thing that I thought too was, if that really didn't mean anything, maybe it was just Tiffany trying to, because they obviously haven't worked together a very long time. Tiff was trying to say, "Look, you're in my way. I need to get the, I need to finish the match." That's kind of what I think happened. But we're WWE fans. We got to look into the subtle details.
But you also got to look at the long. You got to look at the long story. Not
well, that's what I mean. That's what I mean. You got to look at the details. And like I said, like you said, maybe for SummerSlam, that's the next setup for a match. But
yeah, you got to really all these storylines. You really got to think about them as really. I did take some cinema classes in college, so I don't know if you did, but
I took one.
You plan out the beginning, the middle, and the end.
Yes.
And we're at the beginning of a lot of these stories. We haven't really even got to the middle.
We finally got some answers as to what WrestleMania.
Right, and that's the thing, is he's still formulating WrestleMania. He's not even he's at the very he even said it. He said, you think we're on the road to WrestleMania now? The way he said it.
And that was one of those I told you so, is because people were complaining.
Right. And so you got to think of it as like a movie. Think of it as one long movie.
Yeah. And he literally said
people want nowadays, and it's the way it was back in the day. It's the way stuff was drawn out. And actually stuff wasn't even drawn out as long as it is now.
Yeah.
I mean, even when you had when the Macho Man decided he was going to turn against Hogan, you could see that coming a mile away.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
This stuff, you got to be different, because wrestling fans are, whereas they're impatient, they're a lot more savvy now.
Yes.
To the business. And that goes back to what Dave LaGreca was talking about again, as maybe we have too much of the background.
Well,
and
the
curtain,
I think
and the curtain's been pulled up a little bit too much.
That's where his long-term storytelling can be a blessing and a curse, because there's times where you need long-term storytelling, like for WrestleMania, but not every story has to be long, drawn out, like that dead period between Money in the Bank and WrestleMania, and that's where I think that it doesn't always have to be that way.
I agree, but there are times when you can draw something out a little too long if you don't have the people to do it. Here you may like this Tiffany thing. If they want to draw this out, let's say they want to bring Trish back.
Yeah.
I mean, you could see that, but do they really want to do it? I don't know.
No, they don't need to.
But they may have to. They may have to pull that out to make it a little more. Maybe the fans don't like it. Maybe they have to. Maybe they pull Trish out.
Yeah.
And she's already said she's always willing to help out.
Yeah.
And she pushed Tiff a little further up last night.
A little bit,
wouldn't you say?
Especially in the Canadian crowd too, which
and she
obviously
pushed
going to
him
be Trish's.
And Tiff, I don't think Tiff really needs a bump right now, because she's
already
by far.
Yeah.
other than Rhea Ripley, I think, and and um and Liv's done a great job though. She went from being like a nobody really to being
Yes.
like this superstar. And who would have thunk it would have taken a heel turn to do it? So
This is true. So,
but
like I
anyway,
said,
but that match was
couple
okay. But I
little
think there's
things.
a little more. I think there might be a little more to this match than we think. But I may be just like overanalyzing the whole thing. Who
And
knows?
that's what we do as
So,
wrestling fans. So
so.
we look at the little details. So the
And
next
we
match,
have a podcast, so we got to get clicks, right?
yeah,
So
that's true. So the next match, I consider it to be the match of the night, and I think you did too, Vinny. Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn. All I gotta
I
say is
was very
wow.
surprised. I was very
That was
I was delightfully surprised at this match.
yes. I think we both were. I mean, you
No,
knew
you weren't delightfully surprised. You were like, I told you.
well that too. That too. Because you had no hope for the
I
match. I'm like, you
downplayed the
gotta
whole
give it a
thing. I
chance.
downplayed the whole thing because
Never like you said, never
I've
doubt Triple
watched
H.
all the NXT stuff between them two, and I've watched the turns back and forth
But you gotta
between them,
remember
and I'm like,
something. Let's look back a couple years. You actually brought it up briefly last night. Look at Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns at SummerSlam a few years ago. Nobody wanted that match. Everyone was like, "Oh,
no,
here we go again, and we got to see
right,
another Roman Brock match."
right.
And then Triple H took over, and he turned that piece of crap into gold,
But but
just like
again, Sean, it's the same thing. You have to have the people to do it, and I think I underestimated Sammy and Kevin in
yes,
that aspect. Whereas I thought they were going to kind of go back to the well again, and they didn't. They
yes.
totally
And I think
got more brutal. And by the way,
making it an
if nobody
unsanctioned match was the best thing they could have done with this
and
story.
I really, if you haven't watched it yet, what are you doing? Number one.
Yes,
Number two, I did want to say something about the chair. And
the
we know
barbed
what that.
wire chair or
Yeah,
the
yeah. Like I want to know the person that actually set that up
yeah,
and shake their hand and go, I want to see your hands, literally. Like,
yeah,
because I know it's not like real
barbed wire.
barbed wire. I mean, it might be like it might be. I don't know. I can't say for a fact. Only the
Well, the
people
only
that
thing
did
was
it.
KO did not get
But
busted when he hit his head, so I don't think there was.
the fact that it was that someone took the time to take that chair and literally wire that whole thing the way it
Yeah,
looked like it was like almost perfect.
it was
Like the
perfect.
lines were like if you look at that chair close up, that was like a work of art,
Yes,
really.
it was.
That chair needs to go into the WWE Hall of Fame by itself.
I think so. I agree.
And I maybe I'm over like totally overdoing it, but I think that chair needs to go in like some kind of like I don't know, like you know how they have like the Hall of Fame they do like bats from certain players and they
Yeah,
do
but they
that needs
don't.
to go
I don't
somewhere.
think WWE has like their own like Hall of Fame like baseball
But
in the
they do. They
NFL.
have that
They
show where
should, but
they have that show where they show off all
well, they're
the props,
finding
right?
yeah, trying to find the
But where
props
do they
and
put that
whatnot.
stuff then when they find it?
They sell it. People, just random people own this
I
stuff
think
now.
there should be a place. I think
Oh,
there
there
should
should
be a
have been.
place
I
where
don't know
they.
why Vince would never, but
You would think Vince is like an egomaniac, or he would
yeah,
want
right.
something. He'd put a
But
statue of himself in it, probably.
probably, honestly, he probably would have too, and that's the sad part.
And right behind him would be like his family, and then Triple H would be there, I'm sure, because Triple H has. I mean,
Yeah,
granted, he's been very humbled as a non participant now. I still think he has a little bit of that. You have to have some of that ego that you
oh,
had when you were a
100%.
wrestler. I'm sure he has some of that in him.
Oh, 100%. And we saw it in the
You
press
know,
conference last night. But I
yeah.
will say, did you get to go back and rewatch The Return? If you guys didn't see Randy Orton return as KO was
That
about to
was
hit the pile driver on the
mhm,
floor, exposed floor, Randy Orton appears, hits the RKO, takes
yeah.
out a bunch of security guards. The pop was amazing.
It
The
was.
crowd
I did go back and
singing,
watch it. I watched the highlight on YouTube,
the
and it
crowd
was.
singing was amazing. So now I think we know where we're going with this match. We're
Here's
obviously
the
probably
thing. Did you
not
see
going to
the look
see.
on Kevin Owens' face when the music hit?
Oh yeah,
Look at his face when the music
he
hit.
was like you know,
He was like he just couldn't hold it back. He's like, "Oh my god, what did I
yeah,
do?" Like, and then all of a sudden he goes into KO mode and like, "Come on," like. But for that split second, he was scared.
yes,
He
you
was
could see
scared
it because he knew
you
he
because
pissed off the Viper.
he opened up the real Viper, like because if those people didn't pull him out of the way, he was getting a Stephanie McMahon kick to the head.
Yeah, in which he did. He went for the punt, and obviously he got
Or a
jumped by the
Vince McMahon
security
kick to the
team.
head.
But all in all, I say match of the night. The return was just added to it. Was just the
That was
icing on the
amazing.
cake.
I love that.
Like I said, that was the best. So now let's get to the main event because obviously this is going to be the big talking.
We're going
point.
to the main event, or
The match.
Okay. I was
We're
gonna
gonna
say
go
the main
piece
event
by
was
piece. We're gonna go piece by piece. So obviously, we now see Priest and McIntyre is likely the match for Mania, which a lot of people aren't going to be happy about. But you knew it was going to happen with the roll up on McIntyre and then McIntyre hitting Priest with a Claymore, which leading to Logan Paul getting the pin on Damian Priest. So
I'm happy
obviously
Logan Paul went out.
we have
And how he did. He went out.
Yeah. So we see those two eliminated first, which obviously means with the way that ended, that's going to be the Mania match. Not thrilled about it. I don't think you are either, Vinny, but it's just what it is. Then we see Logan Paul gets eliminated. Thank the Lord he did not go very far in this match. But now we got something interesting because you and I were debating for a good portion of that back half of the match. CM Punk, Seth Rollins, where does their story go now? Because beforehand we didn't know what we were in for with the ending with The Rock and Cena and Cody. I feel like now I don't think you could see CM Punk insert himself into this Cody Rhodes situation. You think he just uses that favor to get a match against Roman and Seth night one main event?
No, a lot of people are predicting it's going to be Rollins Punk too, and I think I'm
Yeah, but you
I
can't
tend
forget
to
what
lean
Rollins
that
did to
way.
Roman. But you can't forget what Rollins did to Roman. Rollins put Roman on the sideline. Roman
I
can't
don't
just
think that's
forget
going to
about
be
that.
well. We'll see because Roman's coming back to SmackDown
So we think.
at one point. No, they. I mean,
Oh, I thought you were going to refer
I
to this
think
week, but
it was on WWE's site that he's going to be, or on
yeah,
their Twitter or whatever, that he was coming back.
I didn't
So,
see it yet. But no, like I said,
you know what? I could
there's
bring it
too
up
much
for you.
of an unfinished story with Roman. It has to be a triple threat. I don't see any other way that they can do this.
I mean, you might be right. I just don't think. I don't.
Well, if you are right, then what do you do with Roman?
I don't know. He may have to. They may have to find. I don't know. They're
That's
gonna
the
have
only
to
thing you
find
can
something
do.
else for him. I
Yeah,
think.
that's why I say it's the only thing you can do. But we'll see. We'll you could be right. I could be right. We'll have to wait and see. But I think that's because like I said, I don't think CM Punk can insert him into this story now because now we can talk about the main event, the main event,
The real main event.
the big thing that happened. So Cena gets the win. Now you notice when Cena got CM Punk to pass out, I said this didn't seem right because John Cena taking advantage of Seth Rollins stomping out CM Punk, that's not Cena. Cena does not do that. I haven't gotten there yet. You're rushing.
Okay.
I haven't gotten there
I'm
yet.
just showing people what happened.
Well, we know what happened. But so I said something seemed off. Cody Rhodes comes out. He tells The Rock, go fuck yourself. Excuse my French, but I had to just say it out though. So Cena's loving it. Cena's celebrating. And then Cena stares at The Rock. I said, "Oh, what's he staring at The Rock for?"
There it is, right there.
Me and you were dumbfounded, Vinny, because everybody else saw it coming. If you hear the crowd, me and you were just like, "Why is he staring at The Rock?" And then, bam, John Cena kicks Cody in the nuts, and we get a similar attack to the Rock parking lot situation. Our reaction, you will see it on my TikTok. We'll have that up shortly. Oh my goodness, Vinny, where do we even begin?
Well, as I let me just get rid of that. I personally, that was pretty amazing.
Unexpected too.
And it was very unexpected. It was man, I don't. It was hard for me to kind of put into words as far as like what um, you know, what I thought, because I think he kind of led up to, and you think about what he
There
said
was a
at
lot of
after.
foreshadowing.
You think about what he said at after the Rumble. He kind of went very non-Cena like, where he was very selfish, kind of, if you think about
Yes.
it, and that kind of started the ball rolling.
Well, now we know what The Rock meant when he went 1, 2, 3, doing the Cena thing at Bad Blood.
Yeah, and we'll kind of have some posts up here of what some of the reactions were. This is a
Oh,
newer
the reactions
reaction.
were great. I mean, I can't wait to see when WWE shows on Monday
There's
what happens and the fan reactions from all the other live
there's
streams that
the
took place. Yeah,
I
it
mean,
was
we've
great.
got emotional roller coaster.
I gotta say
You
it.
know,
Everybody's been saying it. Even Cena said it on Instagram. We really got a John Cena heel turn
time
before
for
Grand Theft
Cena.
Auto 6.
Time for Cena to finish his story.
We really got the Cena heel turn before GTA
There's
6.
the parody.
Yes.
Um, yeah, it's gonna be, and then there's that.
This one's
That
my favorite.
I thought that was Make a Wish. Those Make a Wish kids are gonna be upset.
Yeah.
Um,
But
but
the one sad thing is because we know this is Cena's last year, this ain't gonna last long.
no, probably not.
And it's not because Cena's not gonna go out at the end as a heel. So I just think oh yeah, you want to show the R-Truth tweet? His response to Brandy Rhodes after what
Oh yeah,
happened.
let me look for it quick.
R-Truth continues to just be a national treasure.
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
R-Truth just he makes my day every time he speaks. It's hilarious.
Right,
But so obviously I don't think there's any other way Mania ends. Cena has to win. He has to win because now
right, right.
he's going all selfish. And there's good storytelling you can come up with this where Cena can just say, "Well, I was here all these years. I did all these great things, and you still booed me. So now I step away and I do something you don't like, and you're gonna, you were cheering me, and now you don't like it. You're all a bunch of hypocrites and this,
Do you know
that, and the
what?
other
Do you know what
thing."
he's? Do you know what he's under? Our truth. He's not
His
under our truth. I don't
Oh
think,
no,
is
it's
he?
under his real name.
Oh, I don't remember what his real name is.
Yeah, you got it. It's under his real name. I'll get it for you later. But anyway,
Okay.
R-Truth basically said, "Don't jump to conclusions yet." That's what he said. So he
Right, right. Yeah.
R-Truth. Well, because I think Brandy Rhodes says something along some "How could you, Cena?" and R-Truth's like, "Just don't jump to conclusions." So yeah, it was good. Vinny, just give me your overall thought process now that we've let this settle in. We're about 14 hours after what happened at the time of recording. What is your thought process?
Um, I think, um, I think Triple H said it best last night when he said the fact that we had it bottled up so tight as to nobody knew. And when he told the truck, he said he told the truck, "You're on me," the whole time. He didn't even want to let the people in the truck know what was
Yeah,
going on. That's just amazing. Like,
yeah.
to me,
The best
that's like
kept
a little
secret.
that's again, that's uncovering the curtain a little bit. Um, but I think, I don't know. I think he, everybody was all like, "Oh, this is gonna suck." Cena didn't win the Royal Rumble. This is stupid. Well, what do you think now?
There's still people. I saw a couple of comments on his Instagram saying this is why Cena should have won at the Rumble. I'm like, really,
Yeah,
really? Some fans you just can't make happy. You could give them everything they want and they would still complain. But that's why I
right,
stay off of Twitter. That's
right,
really why I stay
right.
off of Twitter. But nonetheless, yeah, I agree. I think a lot of people jump. And it's funny. Me and you, Vinny, we were not upset with the outcome of the Royal Rumble. It felt like
No,
everybody else was.
I thought that it was time for Jay to get his.
Yes,
It was he needed to,
we did miss the Yeet Man last
and
night,
I
though.
think, I think it was fine. I think
I think it
people
worked
just went.
perfectly.
I think people just went a little too nuts
I think so.
with
Again,
you know.
like we said, jump into conclusions. Now, the question is, I know you this is the last person you want to talk about. Where does the final boss leave in all this? Is he going to be in Cena's
Hmm.
corner, or do you think we've seen the last of him for now?
I think we're. I said last night he's probably going to go away. Um, I still want to stand by that because I think the setup was there. I think he set it up. I think
Mhm.
Cena's strong enough to kind of go. Although
Go
what he
on
did
his
last
own.
night, if you watch the press conference last night, Cena goes into the
Mic drop.
and just drops the mic and leaves.
Yeah.
If we get that too much of that, I'll be a little annoyed. If we get
Yeah.
like Cena not saying anything, and then we get
Yeah, that's going
nothing.
to be a little stupid.
If we get radio silence for like from that side, I mean, Rock did come out. He came out with his tequila last night, and he, you know,
He celebrated.
started waxing poetic and celebrating and stuff. But he didn't really give us anything,
No.
right?
No, The Rock was just he was simply the
But
what what I don't know what the right word is, but he was the main piece behind this because had he not
right,
come back, this heel turn really doesn't make a
no,
lot of
I
sense.
think the heel turn happened because Rock's not going to be at WrestleMania.
And that's what they were setting up for. Because we know
Um,
Rock ain't going to be in wrestling shape by now. WrestleMania is only a month and a half away, and he has not been training for it because obviously he's got his
right,
movies.
right,
We're definitely not seeing Rock in another match, at least anytime soon. So
right.
I think you're right. I think we've probably seen the last of him for now. We might get him like on the Raw and SmackDown this week to cut a promo or something
Yeah.
along those lines. But I think I think you're right. I don't. Best case scenario, if you're a Rock fan and you want to see him there, is you see Rock in his corner as a manager. That's
I
really it. But
we
I
may
don't think
we
that
may.
happens.
I wouldn't count on it.
No, no, I wouldn't either.
I wouldn't count on even him. You know, although you know we may see other legends at WrestleMania though.
Oh yeah,
Um, so I don't know. You know, but here's the other thing you talked about Roman. What is I would love to know what he thinks, but they
that
may
I
not
don't
even
even
go
think they go
there.
down that route because obviously he's got his beef with Seth Rollins and CM Punk right now.
Hmm.
I don't know what because I mean in the end, Rock already passed off the torch with the Uafala on the Raw after the first Raw on Netflix.
Hmm.
So I really don't think Roman's going to have any say in this because in the end, Rock's technically not in the immediate bloodline because Rock is one of the high chiefs. I forget the actual name of it, but one of the high chiefs because he's with the elders. So I don't think that there's really going to be any sort of bloodline involvement with this, which is kind of what we needed. As much as I love the bloodline, as you could see, but I just for years the bloodline had to carry every pay-per-view for it to be interesting. You know that too, Vinny. But from the last couple years, if the show didn't have the bloodline, it felt like there was no
But
significance.
I
We
think that's
needed to
why they're
grow from
trying to
that.
get away. I think that's why they're trying to get away from that though.
And they are because there's no
Cena,
plans.
but here's the thing. You let's say Cena decides he's just going to retire and doesn't come back. And let's say The Rock doesn't come back. Then what do you do then? Then does this
Well,
then what do you do?
you need to start
So we
uplifting your
need to
other
start thinking
stars.
about we need to think about starting. I mean, we have 10 months left of Cena, right?
Yes.
Um supposedly The Rock says he's always going to be around. I don't
Yeah,
think
sitting in
that's the
a
case.
office chair.
I don't think that's the case. What else do we do? So the future, I'm
Well,
looking
that's
at
what
the
we said
future.
yesterday. If you remember, I asked you last night after Mania, where do you go from here?
Right, where are we going?
That's the real question. Now, if I could throw out a couple of little predictions, I mean, if Cena wins his title, obviously we're gonna have a rematch with Cody, which probably gets drawn out towards SummerSlam. I'm sure CM Punk will probably get involved at this at some point because obviously he's not gonna have a title match at WrestleMania that we know of.
Right.
I mean, that could
Right.
obviously change too. So I'm sure CM Punk gets to throw in his 2 cents, and then it's gonna have to come down to when Cena hits December, when we finally get his last match, which rumor is he's going to have a pay-per-view named after him called Ruthless Aggression. You need to figure out who that star is that he's going to put over. My hope, Braun Breaker, but they need to build him up a little more, just a little more. I think Braun Breaker is already showing he can be a superstar. That's just the direction I would go. Now, obviously, there's going to be some filler rivalries here and there, but from
By the
what
way,
I
I wanted to bring
understand,
you. I wanted to give you this. By the way, Brandy Rhodes,
oh, that's the tweet I was
John
referring to.
Cena sucks, and then
Yeah, that's our
our
truth.
truth. We can't jump to conclusions.
Yes. Yeah, that's what I was referring to before. Yep.
But Brandy has stated she does not now like John Cena.
There's a lot of people that don't like Cena right now. Me right now, Cena's my favorite wrestler because I hate Cody Rhodes. So
Well, I mean,
it works.
it was a they did it. It was a last night
beatdown.
was a clinic in how you number one how you tell a story
And how to heel turn.
and how to heel turn and also how to misdirect people
Yes, that too.
and
Which
how to
Triple H has done a lot of the last couple
yeah
months.
yeah.
So that's what but back to the point, that's kind of what I predict is you're gonna get some filler rivalries. Cena and Cody's obviously gonna be drawn out till at least August.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm sure Punk will throw in his 2 cents. And then if you're gonna put a star over, I say you make that star Braun Breaker. You have Breaker take that title from him. But
Right.
Vinny, what about you? What do you see for Cena's future for the rest of this year?
I think I don't. So I was watching the live. I don't know if you watched any of the live Busted Open. They had a reaction to this
I
too
saw
last
clips.
night.
I know Dave told Cena F you and
Dave seems to think there's no way back for Cena. And I tend to agree with that take because let's put this into perspective here. The heel turn was like what 22 years in the making now.
exactly 22 years. Yep.
How can a guy that's been a babyface for that long, unless there's something like stupendous going to happen, which could be, I would never put it past Triple H to turn him back. But you're still going to have that in the back of your mind that he turned turned on Cody Rhodes.
Yeah, but here's the thing. Let's look at Roman Reigns
because Cody Rhodes ain't going to let him forget it.
No,
Cody
of
Rhodes
course
and
not.
Cody Rhodes fans are not going to let him forget it.
Well, that's because they're all crybabies.
So here's why. Well, shut up.
They are.
Just because. I like Cody Rhodes.
But see, okay.
I never cried about anything. I just said, look, he needed to finish his story. That's all I said.
Well, the mistake WWE made was if they wanted to really go to Rock and Roman, he shouldn't have won the Rumble. Put point blank.
But he won the Rumble not once but twice, though.
No, I'm talking the second time.
Oh, okay.
If you wanted that story to make sense,
well, then why make him win it twice then?
But that's the mistake they made. That's what I'm getting at.
Okay.
So here's the point I want to make. Now, you said, how do you go back with Cena? I think it just comes naturally because look at Roman Reigns' title run. Now, his last 2 months as a champion, he was a very brutal heel with the brutal attacks. He had the Rock dish out on Cody and then the brutal attacks on that final Raw before Mania. And, Roman was not a nice, he definitely did not play the nice guy role as his time as champion. He was a very good heel. But do you remember when Roman lost, even though he was a heel the whole time, fans started to appreciate him a little more, with the "We Want Roman" chants, and especially when Solo took over and everything. I think when we know Cena's final 2 months or so happens, fans are going to start to think, all right, he obviously just did this horrible thing several months ago, but we're never going to see him again. I think the fans are just going to naturally turn back to being like, all right, Cena just gave us what we hope to be one of the greatest storytellings you'll ever see for a final run in the WWE. Now we can go and appreciate him for it. That's what I think happens. But we will see. I mean,
we'll see. It's really hard to kind of predict these
it's
things,
only March.
especially this. Well, yeah, it's only March, and we're still kind of a month away from that. So, but hey, listen, if it ends up, he because here's the thing now though. Does he win the title as a heel though at WrestleMania?
He has to. I don't see how you don't. It's his last Mania. He's going for the record. Now he's being selfish about it. In what other sense would it make sense to have him win anywhere else but Mania?
So now I was thinking about this a little bit this morning. I was like thinking about because he's gonna have to lose the title before he leaves. If you think about,
well, that's why I say you let him hold the
the
title throughout the year, and then you have somebody take it in December.
So then I think he plays the heel though all throughout.
Oh, I think so too.
Title run.
I just think the fans are going to eventually change their tune towards the end. But I agree. I think he plays heel all the way up until the end.
Because it's going to be, his last match is going to be probably one of the more emotional.
Well, yeah, I think we're all going to be watching that.
We're all going to be. I think there's going to be some some choked up emotions.
A lot of emotions
when his last match comes, and that's going to kind of ruin the heel thing because you're not going to want to root against the guy.
No, you're not. So the only thing I could think then is eventually he turns face towards the end, which I don't know how you pivot that way. Maybe you bring in your best heel at that moment.
So does that put Cody out of the whole title run for? Maybe they give him the rest of the.
Cody's already been champion almost a year. Do
they give him the rest of the year off?
No, I think
because who does he?
You give him a singles run.
But then who does he? But yeah, I think he still goes after Cena though.
Well, yeah, even if Cena wins at Mania, it's not over from there because Cody's gonna want his rematch, and
there's gonna be rematches, right?
They definitely drag that out towards SummerSlam because that's too big of a match to have it just Backlash. You have to have that match.
And then here's the thing,
which hopefully me and you are at.
Right? Do you sprinkle The Rock in there on occasion with him in the title?
You might have to because The Rock is kind of the reason that this happened. So,
yeah.
I mean, if Rock can get himself in shape in time for possibly SummerSlam or
is there a tag team? Is there
maybe
a tag team that you want to see, like Rock and Cena versus
Cody and maybe Punk?
Cody and Punk, or Cody and I don't know.
Hey, actually, I do
Cody's kind of made a few enemies along the way that were baby faces.
Yeah.
Is it Cody and Orton? Do you bring Orton in on this?
I was just about to say, if you bring Randy Orton into this after WrestleMania, that's the
Orton and
opportunity for Orton to turn heel.
If you remember, Orton and Cena do not get along.
Well, that's the thing. So you give them so let's say you get Rock and Cena.
But you could leave versus Orton babyface though.
So hear me out. Rock versus Cena versus Randy and Cody. I mean, right? So you get that tag team that everyone wants to see. You want to see Cena and Randy Orton, you get that opportunity. A lot of people like myself have wanted.
I definitely want to see Cena and Randy Orton.
Yes, I want to see Cena.
Because this sets that up good because now he says, "Oh, you turned on my friend."
Yeah, but also you get Randy Orton versus The Rock, which is a match Randy Orton alluded to a few years ago. So you kind of get that in there too.
Have we ever seen that, by the way? I don't remember seeing.
Only when it was with Evolution, but that I don't really count that. There was never a one-on-one match.
Yeah, no, that was an Evolution. That was
yeah.
And then when he was like Legend, did they ever meet up when he was like just Legend Killer?
No, he wasn't. No, because The Rock was away in Hollywood by then. But so you get that match, and then towards the end, whoever you have win, whether it's Rock and Cena or Cody and Randy, everybody keeps talking about the Randy Orton heel turn. I feel like you've already got Randy and Cena in a match. Now it's time for Randy Orton to turn on Cody, which is what a lot of people have wanted to see. And we've also kind of seen, they alluded to that a few times already. That's the direction I would go, and I think that's the best
Well, Randy's
this
going to
match
turn
in
on
there.
Cody eventually, and we're going to
And
see
I
it.
think that's the perfect time to do it.
But I think it's still.
Not yet.
I think it's after Cena leaves though, because then you
Nah,
have, a storyline
for
after that
next
happens,
Mania.
right?
I see what you're saying.
Because
Yeah.
again, I'm thinking future after Cena leaves, because they're not going to have him anymore to interject in any of the storylines anymore.
No, he's seen it. I think at most he's gonna be. I think he's
Because
gonna be
when
with the creative team. That's about it.
Nah,
Though.
I think though. Well, yeah, he might be, but I think Triple H said it last night. When he's gone,
He's gone.
he's going to be gone.
Yes, he's not coming
He's
back. There's
not
gonna
going to
be no
be.
Undertaker where he just
There's
shows
not
up
going to
out
be
of
one more.
nowhere and
Right, no more one more matches.
yeah.
Kind of like Triple H, really.
Also, don't forget too. Some point this year, we're still due a Goldberg retirement match.
Yeah,
Don't forget
yeah.
about that. I don't know if that somehow could it get involved here. I hope not. I really don't want to see Cena and Goldberg. If I'm
No,
gonna be honest with you. I mean, 20 years ago, that's an amazing match, but not
not
now.
now. Yeah, yeah. They're
But
both kind of. I mean, Cena could still fight, but
yeah,
I think Goldberg's days are. I mean, he's still in
numbers,
great shape. Great shape
not in
for.
ring shape.
But not in ring shape, right?
I agree.
So I don't know. There's a lot of things I want to see. Like I told you last night, I want to see one more stunner on The Rock.
Well, some people think that could
Just one
still
more.
happen at
Just
Mania
one
if
more.
The Rock somehow gets involved in their match
Just
between
one
Cody and
stunner, man.
Cena.
I just,
It's not
how
impossible to
great
think
would it
about.
be? How great would it be if he stuns Rock and then turns to Cena, gives him the middle finger again, and just
That'd be
stuns
funny,
him?
but hey, you know what, Vinny? If it doesn't happen in real life, we get 2K25 in a couple weeks.
I know. I'm going to be doing some stunners for sure.
Yes, yes, 100%. We'll make that a 2K storyline. How does that sound?
There you go. Hey, look, if we
We are
can't,
on
if we
Twitch
can't do
now,
it,
guys.
yeah.
Just reminding you guys, we are on Twitch now. We were on Twitch last night. Pinstripes
Yep.
and Piledrivers is the account, all one word. We'll probably stream some games on there. I know Vinny said he wants to do some MLB The Show. I'll probably bring in
Yes,
some
excited.
WWE at some point. So
I'm kind of excited about this MLB The Show. We may even do a series of we may we'll do what a lot of YouTubers do. They take a franchise that is
like
a
a
poor
rebuild.
franchise. Like I may even take the Chicago White Sox.
I called dibs on the Pirates.
I'll take the White Sox and turn them into the greatest team ever, as opposed to the dumpster fire that they are in
Yes,
real life. So, but
exactly.
anyway,
So
so
that's
yeah,
stuff
and you
to
can
look
and we
forward
can
to.
yeah that's stuff to
We'll
look
definitely
forward to for
we'll
sure.
consider it. We'll talk about it afterwards here. But I
Yep,
want to
yep.
remind you guys as we do wrap up. Vinny, I'm surprised we kept this under an hour.
I know. It's
But
good. We were straight and to the point.
yes, we were.
Mhm.
Remind you guys, Monday night, 6:30, we will be on for Pirates Yankees. Max Fried makes his debut. You want to see our live reaction with the Big Blue and the Bronx crew? You can see it right here on our channel. The Pinstripes and Piledrivers podcast will be also simulcasting with Big Blue and the Bronx. 6:35 first pitch. We'll be on at 6:30. Hopefully, I haven't looked at the weather, but knowing Florida, rain could end up deciding that. But we will see. I haven't looked at the weather. I'm just assuming because it's Florida. But you can see us there. Otherwise, next next week we'll talk more about the Raw and SmackDown after the Elimination Chamber. We'll give you guys our thoughts on where these stories could be heading because we'll probably get some more answers than to in terms of what we could see for WrestleMania. But until then, guys, have a great day, and we will see you guys on Monday. Have a good one, everybody.